Let's talk about something known as the distributive property. And when we distribute something, we give something to all members. So let's take a little problem like this. We've got 2, and then in parentheses, we've got 4 plus 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to draw an arrow to the 4. And then because I'm distributing, I'm going to take the arrow from the 2 and I'm going to draw it to the 7 also. So what I'm going to have is this. I'm going to have 2 times 4, and then the last 2 terms will be 2 times 7. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the addition sign that is on the top part of the problem, and I'm going to bring it down. And then finally, all I'm going to do is multiply 2 times 4 and get 8. And then I'm going to bring my addition sign down. And then I'm going to say 2 times 7 is 14. Finally, I'm going to add those 2 together and get 22. Okay, let's try some more of the distributive property. This time, as you can see, we've got a 5 that's going to get distributed to a 1 plus 1/5. Before I get started on this problem, I want to call your attention to the fact that I'm in the middle of something, Richard. I want to call your attention to the fact that the 5 is going to get distributed to a 1/5. And so if you wanted to look at this in a different way, you could say, hey, that 5 is over a 1. So when it gets distributed, you've got a 5 in the numerator, and inside you've got a 5 in the denominator, and they're going to line up nicely. So anyway, let's go ahead and distribute the 5 to the 1. That's 5 times 1. Okay, and then we'll bring down our plus sign, and we're going to distribute our 5 over 1. You see how I used that in a different sense now? And we're going to multiply that by 1 over 5. So we tidy this thing up. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 over 1 times 1 over 5, if you remember, you can cross cancel and you'll get 1's there. And so essentially what you have is you have 1 times 1, which we know to be 1. If we add 5 plus 1, we get 6. Okay, next we're going to ratchet up the distributive property by doing something called combining like terms. Before we combine like terms, however, we want to distribute a 2 to both terms in the parentheses. This is going to be rather simple. We're just going to take the 2 and we're going to multiply by 4m. And we're going to take the 2 and then distribute it to the m, so that we will now have 2 times 1m. We need to have a 1 in there because we need to have something called a coefficient with every variable. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this problem. 2 times 4m is 8m, plus 2 times 1m, which is 2m. If we add these 2 together, quite simply, we get 10m.